Hello, dear friends. It's very difficult to talk about the ineffable, but there are some descriptions. Opinion piece, the yearning, hunger for God, spiritual restlessness, exit into the light of day, the cloud of unknowing, I only know that I know nothing, longing for transcendence, searching for the unexplainable, sense of the divine essence, Aeropagita's divine darkness. Let's start. Who hasn't at some time in their lives felt an unexplainable yearning or longing to transcend the miseries of this world? Who hasn't looked up at the sky with teary eyes and asked, how long? Until a friend buys us a beer, tells us a few jokes, and then we forget everything again until the next existential crisis. Materialists will say we are crazy, but this craving has a long tradition and is part of the history of humankind. This craving is something so mysterious and unexplainable that it cannot be defined. In quotes, this knowledge of not knowing is of such great power that wise men can never overcome it by arguing. Close quotes. As Saint John of the Cross said, this knowledge of not knowing is so powerful and superior that the wise and learned cannot overcome it with their conventional knowledge. The teaching of Saint John of the Cross invites people to seek a deeper connection with the divine through contemplation and the inner life. In an increasingly hectic and distracted world, his focus on inner peace, sacred solitude, and connection with the transcendental can help people find a sense of calm and meaning. That indefinable something is expressed in Chico Buarque's song. Oh, what will be, that they go seeking through the alcoves, that they go whispering in verses and trovas, that they go around hiding under their clothes, that goes around in the heads and goes around in the mouths, who go about lighting candles in alleys, who are talking loudly in the bodegones. Close quotes. It expresses the need to seek freedom in times of oppression and to maintain hope in difficult times. But Dionysius Aeropagita tries to define the divine darkness. In quotes, supra-essential Trinity, and more than divine, and more than good, teacher of the divine Christian wisdom, guide us beyond not knowing and light, to the highest peak of the mystical scriptures. There where the simple, absolute, and immutable mysteries of theology are revealed in the more than luminous darkness of science, in the midst of the blackest darkness, shining light overflows, absolutely intangible and invisible, the mysteries of the most beautiful glimpse that flood our intelligences, which know how to close their eyes. Dionysius' theology deals with some of the main themes of mysticism: double renunciation of the senses and the unintelligible as a means of attaining union, renunciation of all wisdom and knowledge in order to see and know the invisible and the unknowable, God as supra-essence, i.e. a supreme cause of which nothing can be affirmed or denied because he is beyond that all is sensible and intelligible, ineffability of the mystical experience, i.e. that it cannot be explained in words, the mystical path as the ascent to Mount Carmel, and divine union as the arrival at the summit where divine silence reigns. The description of the unintelligibility of the mystical experience as the darkness of not knowing or luminous darkness that the understanding cannot comprehend. And stillness, The soul, or restless. The soul is restless and tormented until it rests in God, who is our very essence. Saint Augustine already said, "You have made us for yourself, O Lord, and our heart is restless until it rests in you." Confessions 1, first 1. There are three restlessness: the restlessness of the spiritual quest, the restlessness of the divine encounter, and the restlessness of love. According to his belief, the soul is restless and tormented until it finds rest in God, seen as the ultimate source of peace and fulfillment. For many people, the connection to the divine and the search for a transcendent purpose are important aspects of their lives. They feel their soul longs for a connection to the transcendent and find comfort and fulfillment in the belief in a supernatural power. In different spiritual traditions, there are various interpretations of how the soul finds rest in a supreme reality. Some teachings suggest that surrender to the divine will, the practice of prayer and meditation, and living a life in harmony with spiritual principles are paths to inner peace and communion with the divine. Spiritual yearning. The term spiritual yearning refers to a deeper desire or longing for connection to something transcendent, sacred, or divine that refers to an inner search for meaning and purpose beyond the material. It is a longing to experience and understand the divine, sacred, or transcendent in life. A spiritual longing can arise when a person senses that there is something deeper that goes beyond everyday experiences. It may be motivated by questions about the purpose of life, the existence of a supreme being, the relationship to the universe, or the search for truth and wisdom. For some people, spiritual yearning is satisfied through the practice of a specific spiritual tradition. Others may seek answers in practices such as meditation, contemplation, connecting with nature, studying spiritual texts, participating in diverse communities, or exploring different traditions. Spiritual longing can manifest in different ways and vary according to individual beliefs and experiences. Some people may experience a sense of emptiness or dissatisfaction in their lives and seek answers beyond the material. They may have a strong desire to explore their sense of identity, their relationship with the universe, questions about the purpose of life, the existence of a supreme being, or the transcendence of everyday reality. Hunger for God. God hunger is an expression used to describe a strong desire or longing to have an intimate relationship with the divine, to experience a deep connection with the transcendent. It is a spiritual longing that implies a desire to fill an inner void and find fulfillment in the experience of the sacred. It is characterized by a search of meaning and purpose in life through connection with the divine. This expression is commonly found in traditions that emphasize the importance of a personal relationship with the divine. It can be a motivating force that drives one to seek a deeper connection through prayer, meditation, study of sacred texts, participation in rituals, or engagement with the spiritual community. Hunger for God can also be related to the desire to find a higher purpose in life and to live according to spiritual principles and teachings. For some people, a hunger for God may be an ongoing quest and a form of a spiritual enrichment throughout their lives. Respect. It is important to note that spiritual longing is a purely individual experience and may have different expressions in each individual. Some people find satisfaction and meaning in established religious practices, while others may seek a spiritual connection outside of conventional religious structures. It is essential to respect the diverse ways in which people seek and experience spirituality. Spiritual yearning can be a powerful engine for personal growth and the search for deeper meaning in life. It can vary greatly from person to person, and each individual may have his or her own unique spiritual quest and understanding. If you feel a spiritual yearning, it can be helpful to explore different spiritual paths and practices to beneficial and to find what resonates you and provides a sense of inner connection and fulfillment. It may also be beneficial to seek support from spiritual mentors, discussion groups, or trained professionals in the field of spirituality. Ignorance. "I only know that I know nothing" is a famous phrase attributed to Socrates, the Greek philosopher. It is called the Socratic paradox or Socratic irony. It implies an attitude of humility, openness, and a constant research for knowledge and truth. It recognizes that learning and wisdom are based on willingness to question, explore, and expand our cognitive limits. This phrase is not interpreted as absolute ignorance, but as a recognition of the lack of certainty and the need to constantly search for truth. Socrates believed that true knowledge arises from an awareness of one's own ignorance and the desire to seek answers through dialogue and reflective questioning. By stating that he knows nothing, Socrates was not denying his acquired wisdom of knowledge, but rather expressing his willingness to question and examine his own beliefs in search of a deeper understanding, because true knowledge is not just accumulating information, but constantly questioning and testing our ideas and beliefs, because we only know a small part of the reality of this infinite universe. The Cloud of Unknowing. The Cloud of Unknowing is a classic Christian mystical text believed to have been written by an unknown author in medieval England, probably in the 14th century. The text focuses on contemplation and the search for a deeper experience of the divine through the abandonment of limiting thoughts and concepts. The book offers practical teachings on contemplative prayer and union with God. The author describes the cloud of forgetfulness as a metaphor for letting go of worldly thoughts and distractions and entering into a cloud of unknowing, where the mind unites with God beyond the limitations of human intellect and understanding. The main focus of the cloud of not knowing is to attain direct personal divine experience through silent contemplation and surrender of the rational mind. The author urges the spiritual seeker to let go of conceptual knowledge and mental images and to immerse himself in a deep surrender and love of God. Transcendence. St. John of the Cross describes this not knowing in his dark night of the soul. "Enter me where I knew not, and remain me not knowing, all science transcending. I didn't know where I was, but when I saw myself there, not knowing where I was, I understood great things. I will not say what I felt, for I remained not knowing, all knowledge transcending. Of peace and piety was the perfect science. In deep solitude understood the straight way. It was to so secret that I remained stammering, all science transcending. I was so absorbed and alienated that my sense remained, of all feeling deprived, and the Spirit endowed me with an understanding, not understanding, all science transcending. He who arrives there from the truth of himself faints. What he knew at first seems so low to him, and this knowledge grows so much that he remains not knowing, all knowledge transcending. The higher one climbs, the less one understands, which is the dark cloud that enlightens the night. Therefore, he who knew it always remains not knowing, all knowledge transcending. This not knowing knowledge is of so great power that the wise can never overcome it by arguing, for their knowledge doesn't reach the point of not understanding by understanding, all science transcending. And this supreme knowledge is of such high excellence that no faculty or science can overcome it. He knows he who knows how to overcome by not knowing will always transcend. And if you want to hear it, this supreme knowledge consists in a sublime feeling of the divine essence. It is the work of his clemency to make all knowledge transcending. Retreat. In the Hindu tradition, the life is considered to be divided into 4 stages or ashramas: Brahmacharya or student, Grihastha or domestic life, Vanaprastha or forest retreat, and Sannyasa or renunciant. Withdrawal from the world in the last stage of life is seen as a transitional phase in a person's life, where he or she separates from worldly responsibilities and engages in spiritual quest to focus on liberation from the cycle of birth and death, samsara. This is exactly what the Spanish Emperor Charles V did when he retired to the monastery of Yuste. By withdrawing from the world and devoting time to meditation, study of sacred texts and religious practice, one seeks to attain enlightenment and union with the divine. The forest retreat provides an environment conducive to meditation, introspection, and the search for truth. During this stage, individuals, after fully filling their family responsibilities and worldly duties, withdraw from the world, detach themselves from worldly attachments, and focus on spiritual quest and preparation for the final life as renunciants. The last stage of life, called sannyasa, is considered time to focus completely on the search for ultimate truth and spiritual realization. By withdrawing from the world and its distractions, individuals can devote their time and energy to meditation, study of sacred texts, spiritual practice, and the contemplation in search of liberation or moksha. Desert Fathers. The Desert Fathers were early Christian hermits who lived in the deserts of Egypt and Syria during the first centuries of Christianity. These hermits saw the life of solitude, austerity, and contemplation as a way of drawing closer to God and living a deeper spiritual life. They were known for their spiritual wisdom, their teachings on prayer, the ascetic life, and the struggle against passions and temptations. The Desert Fathers had a profound influence on the development of monasticism and Christian spirituality in general. Their teachings and example of life proved to be a source of inspiration and a guidance for those who seek a life of search and depth. Some of the most renowned Desert Fathers include Saint Anthony Abbot, who is considered the father of monasticism, Saint Pachomius, who established the first organized monastic communities, Saint Athanasius, who wrote about the life and teachings of the Desert Fathers in his work Life of Saint Anthony, and Saint John Cassian, a monk and writer who compiled the teachings in his work Cenobitic Institutions and Coalitions. Superficiality. The lack of messages of spiritual transcendence in films, series, and other entertainment media in today's culture can be attributed to several factors. Audiovisual productions are designed to entertain and capture the audience's attention immediately. Therefore, they may opt for more accessible and popular stories and themes, focusing on the emotional aspect, humor, or action, leaving aside deeper and more spiritual themes which can lead souls astray. The entertainment industry is primarily focused on entertaining audiences and generating financial gain. The commercial aspect is prioritized over the depth and exploration of spiritual themes. As a result, it will tend to focus on more popular and commercial themes that are considered to have greater mass appeal, such as action, romance, or comedy. Spiritual and transcendental themes may be considered less commercial and more niche, leading to less attention being paid to them in the entertainment industry. News. Agreement to raise the debt ceiling and avoid default in the US. Spanish writer Antonio Gala dies at the age of 92. Alaurín el Grande Málaga decreased 3 days of official mourning. He was a great among the greats. May he rest in peace and glory. The PP wins the municipal elections in Spain with 2.5 points over PSOE, which loses Seville, Valladolid and other capitals and fails to win Barcelona. Vox decisive in 18 provincial capitals for the PP to gain an absolute majority. Erdogan's victory in Turkish presidential elections. Saudi Arabia is reportedly in talks to join the BRICS Bank. Natto, a Japanese superfood linked to lower stress and longer life. Natto is a traditional breakfast dish served in northern Japan, seasoned with mustard, chopped leek and soy sauce, and served with white rice. It has ammonia-like smell and mucus-like consistency, making it a product that divides opinion, even among people who have grown up eating it. And that's all for today. Thanks a lot, dear friends.